everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Oldies. Want to welcome you to the September 14th, 2019 Vinyl Treasure Show. Glad you can join Johnny G on this kind of rainy evening here, but got some cool 45s out of my collection for the all 50s and early 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. Opened up tonight's 50s edition with a band leader born in Bolivar County, Mississippi, and between the fall of 1952 and the spring of 1959, he had recording sessions sewed up with 4 different independent labels in Chicago. Now, he was the house band for Art Sheridan's Chance record label, Al Benson's Parrot Blue Lake labels, Leonard Allen's United and States labels, and most importantly, Vivian Carter's VJ Falcon labels, primarily backing up vocal groups. Just played the second of 2 on the Bahari Brothers Meteor record label for Al Smith and the Broom Dusters from December of 1956, song entitled Hot Rod Special. Johnny G got a lot of Hot Rods 45s for tonight, so enough of my babbling here. Let's open up tonight's vocal portion with a group from Oneonta, New York. They had one release on Saul Rabinowitz's Baton label. Features Paul Pierce on lead. Let's go back to December 1958. Give a listen to the Tones on Baton, and their tune called 3 Little Loves.
Tell about 3 little loves that I love so well. I was happy because I fell all the way. First little love, second little love, third little love is all I've had. First little love got my glass ring, loved her more than anything, made me feel just like a king. Yeah. First little love, second little love, third little love is all I've had. Second little love was quite the range. She was just about my age. We were thinking of getting engaged. Yeah. First little love, second little love, third little love is all I've had. One more thing, third little love got my wedding ring. That's the reason that my heart sings. Yeah. One little love, oh. 2 little loves, oh. 3 little loves, oh. Yeah. First little love, second little love, third little love is all I've had.
We open up the vocal portion there with the Tones from December 1958 on the Baton record label. 3 Little Loves is the name of the tune. Now, Paul Pierce, he's the lead singer. A couple of members of this group went on to bigger and better things. Ronald Lloyd Crosby later on recorded as a folky, a country rock singer, Jerry Jeff Walker, and Larry Santos, who wrote this tune, went on to have a record hit of his own in 1976 on Casablanca. If you have that 45, the song called We Can't Hide It Anymore, and had other records too, became a record producer and whatnot. But anyway, a cool tune to open up the vocal portion here as we go to another tune here. Got actually a lot of flip sides from the last 50s edition, and on the last 50s show, played a request for listener Noah Sheffield by the Five Satins. Their classic tune In the Still of the Night, featured it on Al Silver's Ember label, but not the March 56 release. It was a later release, but it was on the Red label, but it was a Special Demand release, whatever year that came out. It wasn't 56, it was later, but it was the Red label. Now, a variation in the title, it didn't really have In the Still of the Night as the main title. It had I'll Remember, parentheses, In the Still of the Night, but nothing special about the record except it sounded a little different. It had like some kind of echo or something different about it. Didn't sound like the original 56 sound from the vinyl. But anyway, let's flip it over, give a listen to the flip side, and I think they made it worse. I liked it better sounding with the earlier release than this release. But let's flip the record over because I do like the B-side of the 45, but they tried to enhance it. I don't know what they did, but let's give it a spin here. March 1956 originally, but this is probably like a 1958 release of the record on Special Demand Ember, the Five Satins with the B-side. It's called The Jones Girl.
Everybody talking about the Jones Girl. Everybody talking about the Jones Girl. Everybody talking about the Jones Girl. Everybody talking about the Jones Girl. Everybody talking about the Jones Girl. Jones Girl, Jones Girl. Well, now everybody's talking about the Jones Girl. Yes, everybody's talking about the Jones Girl. She's sweet, she's fine, she made me lose my mind. I love her so I never ever let her go. Jones Girl, Jones Girl. One day while walking home from school, trying to learn to go to school, I saw Miss Jones on my high school feet. I knew right then she was my feet. I love her so I never ever let her go. Jones Girl, Jones Girl. Hey. Jones Girl. Everybody's talking about the Jones Girl. Yes, everybody's talking about the Jones Girl. Love her so, never ever let her go. Yes, I love her so, I never ever let her go. Jones Girl, Jones Girl. Everybody's talking about the Jones Girl.
Those are the Five Satins. Five Satins with the B-side of In the Still of the Night, a song entitled The Jones Girl. Featured it on the Special Demand press there. And I don't know, I think they made it sound worse. It sounded like with some type of echo or something on it. But anyway, I had to play it. Yes, I did. I don't know why. I apologize, those of you tuned into the YouTube video, that it says the Labor Day. I'm trying to play around with this YouTube streaming. I have like two setups. You can set these things up, and I went to the other one. I have two setups to do the broadcast, and I have to save the changes. I did that, but they didn't take, so I have to edit it when the video posts. I can edit it. But anyway, it's not Labor Day. It is a Labor Day for Johnny G because it takes a lot of labor to put this show together. But anyway, for Charlene and I. But anyway, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy spinning the 45s as we count down the music chronologically here on Saturday evenings, 50s and early 60s edition. And these next two 45s I'll be featuring are from last week's program. Now, I played one by Doris Brown for the doo-wop couple Ron and Dorothy, listening up in the state of Michigan on Ivan Ballin's Gotham label. Featured her second of 4. The A-side was called Until the End of Time. Let's give a listen to the flip before it goes back down in the No Humidity basement. There is an unnamed vocal group backing her up, but they are called the Norman Airs. It's with Doc Bagby and the orchestra. This one from 1953. It's on the shiny red label Gotham Records here. Doris Brown and her tune called Why Don't You Love Me Now, Now, Now.
Well, I heard your story many, many times. Here you come again with the same old line.
Why don't you love me now, now, now?
Can't hear you, baby.
Why don't you hug me now, now,
No,
now?
no, no, no.
I'm yours forever, baby.
That's what you say.
Why don't you love me now? Why don't you hold me now, now, now?
Don't rush me, baby.
You know I need you now, now, now.
No, no.
You know I love you, baby.
That's what you say.
Why don't you love me now? You know I love you forever, and I'll never, never go away. Tonight's the night, and I feel so right, and time's a wasting away.
Can't hear you, baby.
Look what you're missing. Now, now, now.
Don't dig you, baby.
Let's start in kissing. Now, now, now.
No, no.
Don't wait for tomorrow, baby.
Keep on a talk.
Why don't you love me now?
Baby, 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 you really do look good to me. And I don't know whether I should. But how can I fight it? Golly knows it's hard to bear.
Time's a wasting away.
Time's a wasting.
Look what you're missing. Now, now, now.
I'm getting weaker.
Let's start in kissing. Now,
Oh,
now,
yeah,
now.
oh yeah.
Don't wait for tomorrow, baby.
I'm all for you.
Why don't you love me now? Baby, why don't you love me now?
Early sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. We count down the music chronologically, basically on the 50s and early 60s edition. Doris Brown and the Norman Airs, 1953. Why Don't You Love Me Now, Now, Now? That one there on the Gotham record label out of Philadelphia, PA. As we continue here, we move into 1954. Now, last week I played a dedication from the Colonel to Harvey Karp for his belated birthday by the Five Emeralds, a group out of Detroit, Michigan. Played both their releases on the SRC label. Their first one was called I'll Beg, and their second release was called Darling. So let's listen to both flip sides for that 45. It features the lead of Norman McLean, and up first is the flip of I'll Beg. I put it on turntable number 1. I had to change the needle to a 78 because it sounds better with a 78 needle on this 45. We go back to 1954, the Five Emeralds here on SRC with a song entitled Let Me Take You Out Tonight. Sounds of 1954 here on the Vinyltreasure Show. The Five Emeralds there with Norman McLean on lead. That's the B-side of their first 45 on the SRC record label. Let Me Take You Out Tonight is the name of that one, and I got to play there, put their other 45 on there. We're going to sandwich it in here with a 45 on Leonard Allen's United label out of Chicago, Illinois, but this group is from Gary, Indiana, and it's their first of two on the United record label. My copy's on red vinyl. You saw that, those of you in the YouTube chat room there, but it features Clarence Anderson on lead. He co-wrote the song. We go back to February 1954. Give a listen to the 5 C's now, the 5 C's on United, and their tune is called Tell Me. That's the first of two for the 5 C's on the United record label, February 1954. Clarence Anderson on lead. Tell Me is the name of that one. Featured it on a red vinyl. I think the red vinyl plays better than the black vinyl copy for some reason, but sometimes it's vice versa for other records. I think one of the 5 Crowns, I don't think the red vinyl plays as good as the black vinyl. I don't know. Johnny G losing his mind here. Let's continue here. Let's go back to the 78. Let's go back to the SRC label. To turntable number 1, I have the 78 needle up. I should take that off and let you listen to that record without the 78 needle. You won't like it. But let's flip back to the other turntable with the 78 needle for the flip of the second release by the 5 Emeralds. The A-side I featured last week, it was called Darling. The flip is a jump with Norman McLean on lead. This one from 1954. The 5 Emeralds, their second release on SRC. It's called Pleasure Me.
Pleasure pleasure me, baby, with your nearness, warm me, baby, with your kisses, make a love so tenderly. I'm all yours, can't you see, honey, baby? Pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, baby, with your nearness, warm me, baby, with your kisses, make a love so tenderly. I'm all yours, can't you see, honey, baby? Pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, ho! Give me your love and let me share it. Take my heart, but please don't tear it. My love is yours, keep forever. I hope this will be your life's endeavor, honey, baby. Pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, baby. With your nearness, warm me, baby. With your kisses, hold me close, so tenderly. I'm all yours. Can't you see, honey, baby? Pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me. Anywhere, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, honey, baby. Pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me. Anywhere, baby. Pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me. Anytime. Pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me, pleasure me.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Five Emeralds, the B-side to their second release on the SRC record label from 1954. The song entitled Pleasure Me, Norman McLean on lead for that one. Now, in 1957, this group would record as the Downbeats. I have their Peacock single coming up later on in the show, but I wanted to play this record here with the 45 needle to see how it sounds. We'll do that after this next record here. Going to go a little bit out of sequence here, but we stay in Detroit, Michigan with, we just heard the Five Emeralds. How about the $5 recorded on Devorah Brown's, for Devorah Brown's Fortune record label. Here is a nice cover of a song originally recorded by the Four Buddies on Savoy Records back in 1950. Let's move up 6 years now to October of 1956 for their 8th release on the Fortune label. These are the $5. It features Little Eddie Hurt on lead. October 1956, the $5 on Fortune with their rendition of the tune I Will Wait.
You have gone, my darling. You have gone away. I will wait for your return until you come my way. I will wait till eternity. So patiently I will wait, darling, please wait for me. Wait there for me. Well, it sounds so strange to hear somebody call your name. Oh, I know you are not to blame. One you please wait for me.
Wait there for me.
Well, it's funny, baby, but true. I love no one but you. So I feeling blue. I love no one but you. Well, I'll stay true till I hear from you. I will wait. Oh, so patiently I will wait. Darling, please wait for me.
Wait there for me.
Though you've gone away, my darling, and left me here to stay. Yes, I'll wait for your return.
I will wait till eternity. I will wait. Oh, so patiently I will wait. Darling, wait for me.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the $5. The $5 from October 1956. It says Little Eddie on the label there. It's Little Eddie Hurt on lead. On the Fortune record label, the Blue Fortune label for that one. I Will Wait is the name of that one, originally done by the Four Buddies on Savoy in 1950, but that's 1956. Let me play a little bit of that Five Emeralds record with the 45 needle, and you'll hear how it sounds. It sounds pretty horrible. Put this on here. Let's hear it a little bit. See, it sounds much more static. Really? Hear it? Can't play it with that needle. No way. You can't do that. Anyway, we're going to take it off here. And we're going to put the other record on. I can't cue it up. I got to read my little promo on it anyway. But let's continue with the B-sides here. Now, let's continue with the B-sides now from last week as we go to Los Angeles, California, to the Flash label. I played the debut single by the Jayhawks, a song entitled Counting My Teardrops, which was a nice ballad. The flip side is a jump, as that was usually the case in the 1950s. Now we go back to October of 1955 on the Flash label. These are the Jayhawks with The Devil's Cousin. Here goes.
I met a fine little baby. Oh, she thrills my soul. I just love her disposition. Gee, the way she rocks and rolls. Oh, baby. Oh, we please, baby. Don't make me flip my lid. I said to myself, take it easy, or you'll wind up like the rest. Yes, they all call her temptation. She'll put you through the test. Oh, baby. Oh, we please, baby. Don't make me flip my lid.
She's got him on a spell. Now ain't that a shame? I'm the devil and she's my cousin. Now where can you lay the blame? He's going.
Oh, baby. Oh, better look before you eat. She's a real cool operator. She make you feel that rhythm beat.
She's crying.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Don't make me flip my lid. Don't make me flip my lid. Don't make me flip my lid. Don't make me flip my lid.
B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Those are the Jayhawks from October 1955 on the Flash label. The Devil's Cousin is the name of that one, and this group would later record as The Vibes, and after that as The Vibrations. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. We continue with the fabulous flip sides from last week. This one by the Moonlighters, a.k.a. the Moonglows, played the A-side of their second release as the Moonlighters on the Checker label. It was called Hug and a Kiss. That one featured Bobby Lester on lead. The B-side is a duet, Bobby Lester and Harvey Fuqua, written by Harvey Fuqua, and of course, they had to give credit to the group's manager, Alan Freed. Of course, didn't write one note of this song, but anyway, he gets credit. We go back to February 55 for Bobby Lester and the Moonlighters on Checker with New Gal.
I want a new gal. I want a new gal. I want a new gal. I want a new gal. To love me, love me, love me, love me, love me all the time. I want a new pal. 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 To ease my troubled mind. They say you're a gal. She was a cold gal. She kept your face and across the floor. She took my money, and that ain't funny. So you know that I don't need her anymore. I want a new love. 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 Ease my troubled mind. Troubled mind. Ease my troubled mind.
February 1955 release there for Bobby Lester and the Moonlighters. It says on the label, but it's really a duet. A duet with Bobby Lester and Harvey Fuqua on the Checker label. That is the second release as the Moonlighters. New Gal is the name of that one. Let's continue here. A couple of requests up next as we move into 1956. Posted this one up on my Facebook wall. You can check it out. It's a request for Warren. Requested a rare 45 out of Miami, Florida, as we go to Henry Stone's Marlin label for this group called the Majestics. It features John MacArthur on lead. This one from 1956, the Majestics on Marlin, and their tune called Nighty Night.
Well, my darling, I really hate to say nighty night. Although I've enjoyed your arms, yes, holding me tight. The moon is shining up above. I hate to go home, but it's late, my love. Almost one. Got to run. 99. We've said farewell 1,000 times or more, and each time I've lingered at your door, enjoyed your arm, holding me tight. 99. Go and dream of my love and of me holding you tight. Yes, 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 yes. For my dear, tomorrow morning I will love you much more than I do tonight. One more kiss before I go. Remember, dear, I love you so. Almost one, gone to run. 99. Go and dream of my love and of me holding you tight. Yes, 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 yes. For my dear, tomorrow morning I will love you much more than I do tonight. One more kiss before I go. Remember, dear, I love you so. Almost one, got to run. 99. 99.
By request here on the Vinyltreasure Show for Warren Russell, currently in the YouTube chat room there. Those are the Majestics. The Majestics from 1956, song entitled Nighty Night, came out on Henry Stone's Marlin record label. That label out of Miami, Florida, and a member of this group was Sam Moore. Sam Moore of the famous soul duo Sam and Dave, the duo that recorded for Stax Records, had those hits Hold On, I'm Coming, whole bunch of soul records they put out there. But he was a member of that group, and he does talk about it. In interviews, he mentions that he was a member of that group. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we spin original vinyl 45s out of my collection. Been playing lots of requests over the last few weeks here. I enjoy playing the requests for you folks. Finding them can be a chore sometimes, but here's a request I found for California listener Métis Camp. Boy, we have to say hi to her. She's in the YouTube chat room. She requested this duo by the name of Sticks and Stones, who are really Sticks Evans and Alvin Clark. And one of those duos, Sticks Evans, he wrote the tune, came out on a label called Point Records. Let's go back to August of 1956 by request from Métis, Sticks and Stones on Port, a song entitled Desperately. By request for Matey Camp Boy, that duet's called Sticks and Stones will break my bones. No, they won't. August 1956 release on the Point record label. Desperately is the name of that one. There's a couple of actually pretty cool tunes on the Point label. Joanne Campbell, I think her first record's on that Point record label. There's a couple things. There's one called Yodel Something, which is pretty good, and I have another one there. Anyway, thank you for that request, matey. I'll have more coming up here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Let's continue here, and here's another flip side from last week's show as I featured the second of two by this Kansas City group called The Carpets. I played the ballad side of their 45 called Lonely Me. I also liked the flip side written by the lead singer. He was only 16 years old. His name is James Gatson. Let's go to May of 1956. The Carpets on Federal. Their tune is called Chicken Backs.
She plans our dates 10 days
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Although that might have been the A-side. I didn't say that. I just said it's flip sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's May 1956. That's the Carpets. That's the second of two on Sid Nathan's Federal record label. Chicken Backs is the name of the tune. Such a powerful voice, that lead singer James Gatson there. The Carpets with Chicken Backs. And I don't know, he was like kind of like echoey there on that 45. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the tunes here. Let's continue. Let's go back out to California. Even though all the members of this group were from the Los Angeles area, they didn't meet up until they were stationed at a Georgia Air Force base. And this is the group's only release. It came out on the Middletone label. This is a rare 45. Hard to find this record for sure. And they're known as the Cardells. It features Charles Bearden on lead. Let's go to August of 1956. The Cardells on the Middletone label. Their tune is called Lovely Girl. It's a rare 45 on the Middletone record label by a group called the Cardells, Cardells. August 1956 release, Middletone Records. Lovely Girl is the name of that one. Charles Bearden on lead. It mentions that on the label. The flip side is Helen, which is a good record too that they do. That's a rare 45. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue. We are in the year 1956. Now, on the last Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a request for the doo-wop couple Ron and Dorothy, a solo effort they requested by Dean Barlow, his first release on Joe Davis's Davis label. The song was called As God Is My Judge, and I like the flip side of that 45, so let's give it a spin here from 1956, Joe Davis's Davis record label, Dean Barlow with Hiya, Honey.
Hiya, honey, what's your name? If you ain't got nobody, I'll stake my claim. Hiya, honey, how about a date? Please tell me where you live, I won't be late. Ooh, you're so fine. What a chick. When I first saw you, baby, I took to you quick. Hiya, honey, you from me. Can't you see our meeting was meant to be? Hiya, honey, don't delay. I'll never, never, never let you get away. Ooh, you're so fine. Ooh, I'll never let you rest until you're mine. Hiya, honey, what's your name? If you ain't got nobody, I'll stake my claim. Hiya, honey, how about a date? Please tell me where you live, I won't be late. Ooh, you're so fine. Oh, what a chick. When I first saw you, baby, I took to you quick. Hiya, honey, you from me. Can't you see our meeting was meant to be? Hiya, honey, don't delay. I'll never, never, never let you get away. Ooh, you're so fine. Ooh, I'll never let you rest until you're mine.
That's Dean Barlow. Dean Barlow on Joe Davis's Davis record label. 1956, Hiya Honey is the name of that one. Of course, Dean Barlow sang lead for the Crickets on the JD label, also the Bachelors on the Earl label, and of course the Monterey's Dearest One on the Onyx label. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. I got up early today as I went to the zoo, the Bronx Zoo today, to the Madagascar exhibit. It was actually pretty cool. I had a nice time with Barbara. Went to the Madagascar exhibit. We had a brunch there, and it was pretty nice. It didn't rain. It's raining now, though. But anyway, John G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. We move into 1957 with a request for Bopper Boy Warren, it's a rare 45 on the Plus label for this group from the Bellevue Square section of Hartford, Connecticut. And this is their debut single. It was written by the second tenor of the group, Teddy Mathis, and I posted this one up on my Facebook wall. You can check it out. It features Bobby Tinsley on lead. So this is going out to Warren. It's another rare 45 from April 1957. They're called the Love Tones. The Love Tones on Plus with a song entitled Talk to an Angel.
Oh yes, and I love her so. But does she love you? An angel, high above. She lives in the highest heaven, heavens above. And I still remember how I love her so. of love. She's living the highest heaven love. Heavens above, and I still remember how I love her.
That's a killer record there. Good request, Warren. The great record by the Love Tones, April 1957. On the Plus label, Talk to an Angel is the name of that one. Bobby Tinsley on lead for that one. The song originally recorded, this song was recorded July 31st of 1956, but it wasn't released until April of 1957. That's a great request, Warren. Thanks for requesting that. Also, there's another record on this label, actually a little later than this, I think. Audrey does a song called Dear Elvis. I think it's on this label. I think I have another record on this Plus label. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. Let's continue now. In last week's Vinyltreasure Show, I played a rare 45 on the Mellow label by a group called The Gales. It was called Guiding Angel. Now, it's their second on the Mellow label, and the harder of the two, they do two. Josephine is one, and this is the other. This is the harder one to get. But let's give a spin to the flip side. We're going to send it out to listener Donald McGee listening. And Donald, this goes out to you. This one, December 1957, The Gales on Mellow, a song entitled Baby Come Home.
Doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dee-dee-dip, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dee-dee-dip, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dee-dee-dip, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dap-dap. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, baby, come on, baby, come along. Why don't you come on home where you belong? Well, baby, come on, baby, come along, baby. Why don't you come on home where you belong? Well, baby, I love you, baby, I need you, baby. I love you so much, baby. Love you so. I never let you go. Come on, baby, come along, baby. Why don't you come on home where you belong? You said, I said, love could be free. I know, you know that we'll love for eternity. Oh, baby, I need your love, baby. Right now the bar, baby. Why don't you come on home where you belong? Well, I love you, I never let you go, oh, baby. I'm not love, baby. Now that you're home, baby. Now that you come on.
December 1957 release there for the Gales, going out to Donald McGee listening. Now, Donald McGee, that goes out to you. The Gales on Mellow. Baby Come Home is a cool tune. I like that record there. The unusual thing about this record is the originals have deltas from the Monarch pressing plant out in California. I was looking online and I saw other ones that looked different, but they were bootlegs. The bootleg of this looks pretty nice too, but I have one. My original has a delta in the dead wax from the Monarch pressing plant. Anyway, who knows? Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue now. On the last Vinyltreasure Show, I opened up with a request for Ron and Dorothy by the Paragons, a group out of Brooklyn, New York. It was course, the B-side of their debut single on Paul Winley's Winley label was called Hey Little Schoolgirl, but couldn't resist to play the intended A-side. I remember listening to this one on oldie radio when I was trying to learn about all these groups and etc. And this was a 45 my aunt remembered from hearing on local radio here in New York City. And we got to call it a classic, the A-side. It features Julius McMichael on lead. We'll go back to February 1957 for the Paragons on the Winley label. And their classic tune, a song entitled Florence. That's the first of 7 for the Paragons on the Paul Winley's Winley label. Julius McMichael on lead there, February 1957, their classic tune, song entitled Florence. Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. Let's continue here now. Actually, the next two 45s I'm spinning are requests for listener Braden McCallow, listening in the state of Minnesota. He's a big 78 collector. He's asked me if I have certain things on 78. I think certain records on 78 sound really cool. Actually better, like those SRCs that I played. The 78s play so much better if you have the right equipment. Yes, they do. And but unfortunately, they stopped making 78s around 1960. You had to go to Canada, I think, to get other 78s. I mean, I think I have Richie Valens. I have Donna on a 78, but it's on Apex, I think, which is a Canadian release. But anyway, the next two 45s going out to Braden McCallow. Up first is one on Leonard Allen's United label out of Chicago, Illinois. Now, this group is called The Answers. The interesting thing about this record is that both sides of this were written by Billy Dawn Smith and William Henry Miller. And I was looking to see if somebody on Acme recorded this song or somebody else did. I didn't really do a thorough research, but I checked on a couple of the sites. I couldn't find it. But this is going out to Braden. September 1957, The Answers on United, a song entitled Keeps Me Worried All the Time.
why, da 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 da. Oh, why, da 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 da. Oh, why, da 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 da. Da 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 da. Oh, why I'm so lonely. Tell me what can I do? I am thinking no one else but you. There is something on my mind, keeps me worried all the time. Keep me worried all the time. Poor little me, I never get a chance to be in your arms and to share your loving charm. There is something on my mind, keeps me worried all the time. Keep me worried all the time. My love was made by fools like me, as anyone can see. It makes you happy, it makes you sad. Sometimes it makes you wish you was dead. Yes, I want you just to be my own. Why you always doing things you know is wrong? There is something on my mind, keeps me worried all the time. Keep me worried all the time. Love was made by fools like me, as anyone can see. It makes you happy and it makes you sad. Sometimes it makes you wish you was dead. Girl, little me, never get a chance to be in your arms and to share your loving charm. There is something on my mind, keeps me worried all the time. Keep me worried all the time. Oh, why, da 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 da. Oh, why, da 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 da. Oh, why, da 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 da. Da 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 da. Oh, why.
As by request for Braden McCallow there, those are the answers. So, Braden, why do you like that record? I'm just asking, why did you request that? I think it's a good record because I like it, like both sides of that 45. From September 1957, Keeps Me Worried All the Time is the name of that one, and that's on United Records, and it appears to be the group's only release. So there you go. That's one for Braden. How about his second request here? It's out of the Bronx, New York. As we go to Zell Sanders' JNS record label for this group called The Climbers. They had two on the JNS label. Now, Braden requested the B-side to their first release. And for you collectors out there, the true original of this has small print, and it has a pressing plant error. There is the omission of the group's name on the label. Now, check my scan on Facebook, my Facebook wall. You'll see there is no mention of the group The Climbers. It is not, and I think that was a big mistake they did. And I don't know if it's why they pulled the record. I have no clue. And I won this one in a John Tefteller auction so many years ago. And mine is slightly off center, so you saw me trying to line it up right. But really, I've never seen another copy of this. It's really truly a rare record. You can get the second presses. I think they even go for some bucks, but they're big print. But you can easily tell. But this is going out to Braden, January 1957. The Climbers on JNS. It's called Angels in Heaven. Know I Love You.
Angels in heaven,
No, I love you.
roses are red, violets are blue.
Please let you show me where she has gone. Oh, I've lost her early in the dawn. Please can't you tell me where she has gone?
She has gone.
Please
request going out to Braden McCallow. Those are the Climbers from January 1957, Zell Sanders J&S record label out of the Bronx, New York. Angels in Heaven Know I Love You. So I don't know, my copy's slightly off center. It is. It's like you can see it's kind of like pressed, the label's pressed off center. But I have to ask a couple of the guys I know that have this record if theirs is off center. There's certain things on some of these records that caused problems, and the owners of the labels, they knew about it, so they pull the records back. Is what they do. They pull them back and they don't get pressed, and therefore they're really rare. There's some instances of that, really. But anyway, Johnny G, thanks for that request, Braden, by the way. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we move into 1958. We go to Decca Records for this next one, which was a hit in the Chicago area. It was played on WJDD. It was also a hit in Gary, Indiana, big number 6 on WWCA. Now, this group is known as the Bel Airs. It features Millard Edwards on lead. Let's go to April of 1958. The Bel Airs on Decca, and their tune called Rockin' and Strollin'.
I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love.
I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with you. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with you. Rockin' and strolling up, I've got a crazy kind of feeling. Hearing the bells ringing. I'm in love,
I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love.
like the saying goes. Whoa, baby, I'll go for you. Me and you together would be like 98 and 2. Whoa, 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 got a crazy kind of feeling. Whoa, 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 my heart is singing, rockin' and strolling. I've got a crazy kind of feeling. Hear the bells ringing. I'm in love. Whoa, 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 got a crazy kind of feeling. My heart is singing, though the dance is over. Oh yeah, let's keep a strolling together. Let's keep a strolling forever in love.
I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love.
I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with you. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with you. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with you. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with you. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love.
April 58 release there for the Bel Airs. The Bel Airs on the Decca label. Rockin' and Strollin' is the name of that one. Millard Edwards on lead. Now, this group would later evolve into the Shepherds that recorded on the Apex and VJ record labels. Johnny G here for continuing spinning original vinyl 45s. Now, in the last couple of weeks, played both sides of the chart's second release on Danny Robinson's Everlast record label. One week I featured Dance Girl. The next week I featured Why Do You Cry? Now, listener Matey Campboy, she asked if I had the group's fifth and final release on the Everlast record label, and yes, I do have that, a 45, so we're going to send this one out to Matey Campboy. Here are the charts, their fifth release from 1958, written by the lead singer. His name is Joe Greer. These are the charts on Everlast, going out to Matey, a song entitled My Diane.
My darling, can't you see that you were meant for me?
That's a great sound of the charts. Joe Greer and the charts going out to Matey Campboy. 1958 release on the Everlast record label, song entitled My Diane. Remember hearing that on oldie radio here in New York City. Let's continue here with another request from Matey Campboy by a group from Brooklyn, New York. Began recording on Hiram Johnson's Johnson record label back in 1957. You know their signature song was a hit the second time around for the group, a song entitled Baby Oh Baby, but they had a number of releases on the Johnson label and other labels too. Now this one is on George Goldner, well actually they recorded for George Goldner labels Roulette, Gone, and this label N Records. Actually they recorded this for Hiram Johnson, and he leased this one out to George Goldner to be released on the N label, and it's a request for Matey Campboy. It features Nathaniel Bouknight on lead. Let's go back to May of 1958 by request from Matey. Give a listen to the Shells on End and their tune called Sippin' Soda.
You left me
sipping soda.
By request for Matey Campboy, those are the Shells. Nathaniel Bouknight on lead, May 1958, on George Goldner's N record label, song entitled Sippin' Soda. First time I heard that record, I was listening to the Gus Gossard Show, and I said, oh, I like that record. What is that record? Because sometimes he didn't tell you who they were. So I had to listen again, but he would play them over and over again. Not the same night. He might play them on it, because he was on Saturday and Sunday when I used to tune in on WPIX. So I had all these long lists of records. I only knew the song, or I knew the group, and I didn't know the song, and back and forth to trying to figure it out, and I didn't know where to get originals. So I used to buy from Disco Disc. They used to have like reissues or bootlegs or whatever they had. It was like 70, and they would come out every week. We have coming in, Ronnie and I did the same thing. We have these records that are coming in at 75 cents or $1 a piece. Of course, they weren't originals, but you never knew with Disco Disc, because some of them were originals. They would get them from that warehouse in Philadelphia, whoever had the Lost Night warehouse, because they had both originals and reissues, like the Lost Night reissues, and a couple things on original. I remember getting Frankie and the Classicals on the Calla label with a BB hole in it, the originals, they would just come in. It would be 75 cents or $1, and it said list alternates. So anyway, so I would get this record, and I might get it on the Roulette reissue. So I got it on, Morris Levy put it out on his Roulette reissue when I first got it, but then I picked up the original. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here. That's Sippin' Soda requested by listener Matey Campboy. Let's continue here. And this next group, they're out of Cleveland, Ohio. And this release came out on 2 different labels, by the way. The first press of this comes out on a label called Conn, C-O-N-N, the Conn label, which was owned by Marty Conn. But then something must have happened, maybe a legal issue with his other partner, who knows, but it was re-released on the Marcon label. And of course, since Johnny G is a completist, I have both presses. But let's give a listen to the first press of this record, which is a pretty rare 45, by the way. It's from December 58. The group is called The Annuals. The Annuals, I'm playing it on the Conn label, C-O-N-N, a song entitled Once in a Lifetime.
Oh, once in a lifetime, when you held me tight, that was the right time. Things seemed so bright to be with you, knowing that our love is true.
A group called The Annuals. The Annuals, December 1958. It's on the Conn label, First C-O-N-N Records, out of Cleveland, Ohio. Once in a Lifetime is the name of that one. Then it came out on the Marcon record label. Remember, I saw that record on eBay, and I don't know if it was, I think it was at $300 or something. I don't know if it was buy it now or nobody bid on it. So I made an offer. Mike Molinaro, I think, was selling the record. He sold it to me. He sold it to me for, I think, $100 less, if I'm not mistaken. But it was not. It was mint. It was better condition than this one. Oh, this one didn't play bad. Johnny G babbling on here for a Saturday evening as we continue. And here's another flip side from last week's Vinyltreasure Show. I played a request for the doo-wop couple Ron and Dorothy, the B-side of this 45 with this Harlem, New York group, their third of 8 on Paul Winley's Winley label, a song entitled Oh Baby, but I gotta play the A-side before it goes back down in the No Humidity basement. And it's a cover song. This was first done by Arlene Smith and the Chantels. But let's give a listen to this version by the Jesters. The Jesters here from January 1958 on Winley Records, and the tune called The Plea.
I really love you so, I'll never let you go. I really love you so, I'll never let you go. Don't ever leave. Baby, 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 stick with me. Life would be fine. Baby, 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 if you were mine, please hear my plea. Come back to me, I love you so. Dear Lord, please hear my plea. Help do something for me. I love her so, want her to know that never, ever leave. Baby, 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 stick with me. It would be fine. Baby, 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 if you were mine. Dear Lord, please hear my plea. Help do something for me. I love her so, want her to know that I won't ever leave. Baby, 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 stick with me. It would be fine. Baby, 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 if you were mine.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Those are the Jesters. Adam Jackson on lead, January 1958. That's their third of 8 on Paul Winley's Winley record label. The Plea is the name of that one, originally done by the Chantels, who we will hear next Saturday. We will play that for Matey. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. As we continue here, we move into 1959 with a group from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which consisted of Joe DiFulveri, Sam Gentile, Jim Tullio, and lead singer Andy Zakar. This one from October 1959. They're called the Casinos, one of many groups called Casinos. This is on the Casino label. Give a listen to their tune. It's called Why Am I a Fool?
Am I a fool to love? I say no, no baby. I want your warm embrace and kiss your tender face. You know how much you mean to me. Oh baby, why, oh why am I a fool? You said someday you'd be my bride. Oh well, you said someday you'd have me tied. Am I a fool to love you so? Did I do wrong by saying no? Oh baby, why am I a fool? Why am I a fool? Oh, why am I a fool?
A group called the Casinos. They're out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on the Casino label, October 1959. Song entitled "Why Am I a Fool?" Now, the writer of the tune is Andy Zakhar. He wrote both sides of the 45 of the songs, both sides of the record. Now, Andy Zakhar would go on to have solo releases on the Arcade label and Valiant label. Those are Philly labels under the name Andy Starr. As we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show, up next, a 45 on one of those George Gollner one-off record labels. It's called the Vega label. That now, before Berry Gordy Jr.'s Motown empire became fully operational when he started making hit after hit after hit, Gordy did many a deal with George Gollner, and as the case with this Vega 45, which is a debut single for Mr. David Ruffin, and he was using an alias at this time. He was going by the name Little David Bush. Now, his name, he selected that name because it belonged to his guardian, and of course, this is way before he became lead for the Temptations. He was recording songs under the name Little David Bush. So let's go back to January 1959. It's on the Vega label, a Goldner label. It's by Little David Bush, a song entitled You and I.
You and I, oh, you and I, you and only you alone were meant for me. It would be, oh, so wonderful, oh, so beautiful, if you will share your love with me. Oh, let it be, oh, please, let it be you and I, just you and I, oh, you and I. Everything I've searched for, I've found in you. You have changed all of my tears to smiles, made my life worthwhile, washed away all the blues. Oh, let it be, oh please, let it be you and I. Heaven is only as far away as you are from me. So why live our lives alone when we can make heaven our home? Just you and I, oh, you and I. Everything I've searched for, I've found in you. You have changed all of my tears to smile, made my life worthwhile.
January 1959 release there for Little David Bush, a.k.a. David Ruffin, for his first record. I think that's his first record. Came out on the Vega label, a George Gollner label. Song entitled You and I. You and I are here every Saturday from 10 to midnight. Hope you're digging on the cool 45s out of my collection. We are in the year 1959. Now, last week I played a request for listener Cheryl Morgan by this group from Brooklyn, New York. They were called the Laurels on the ABC Paramount record label. The song was entitled Picture of Love, which was the intended A-side of the 45. Let's flip it over, give a listen to the B-side before it goes back down in that no humidity basement. This one from September 59. They're called the Laurels on ABC Paramount. The song is called Hand in Hand.
Walk together, you and I, hand in hand, we'll love together by and by. Oh, hear my plea, love only me. At your side, I'll stay until the day I die. Love as all our years go by. Whoa, I'm so blue, love only you. I must admit, my heart stopped a bit the moment you came into view. We took a chance on our romance, but for you, my love was always true. On in all, we'll fly together to the sky. Tears will flow, my darling, though we know not why.
B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. They're called the Laurels, September 1959 release. Hand in Hand is the name of that one on the ABC Paramount record label. Let's continue here. Now, earlier I played 245s at the beginning of the show by the Five Emeralds on the SRC label from 1954. Remember, I changed the needles for those two records. Well, it featured Norman McLean on lead there. Now, here he is again. 3 years later, lead of a group called the Downbeats. Let's go to Don Robey's Peacock record label for this one, March of 1959. They're called the Downbeats, and the tune is called Someday She'll Come Along.
Someday she will come along, and I me every day and promise never go astray. I'll hold her oh so close to me and love her till eternity. Please, oh please let it be. My nights are so lonely, cold as can be. I need someone so close to me. My days are so empty, cold as can be, and I know that someday she's gonna come back to me and promise love me every day and promise never go astray. I'll hold her so close to me and love her till eternity. Please, oh, please, let it be.
That one there from March 1959, a group called the Downbeats. Send that one out to Andrew Turner. He likes that tune there by the Downbeats. Don Roby's Peacock record label, Norman McLean, he's on lead. It's called Someday She'll Come Along. Yes, she will. Johnny G's here for a Saturday evening, and got one more 45 in the year 1959. This is a pretty cool rocker on a Johnny Vincent's Vin label, a subsidiary of Ace Records out of Jackson, Mississippi. But this group is from Worcester, Massachusetts. They were named after an old-style car style called the Phaeton. Does anybody know the Phaeton car style? I don't know what it is, but anyway, hence the group was called the Phaetons. Now the lead singer here goes by the name of Bernie Mangini, and he also wrote the tune. This was a #1 record on WORC in Worcester, Massachusetts. Let's go back to June of 1959. It's on the Vin label. These are the Phaetons. It's spelled Phaetons, with a song entitled I Love My Baby.
I love my baby, 'cause she's good to me. Yes, I love my baby, she's the one for me. I'll never leave her, she'll stay right here with me.
I'll never cause you strife. Yeah, wait on. I need you, baby. Yes, I need you, baby. Oh, now let's wail it real low. Yeah. You are my one love. I'll never cause you strife.
Wow, that's a rockin' tune there by a group called the Phaetons. June 1959. It's on the Vin label, subsidiary of the Ace record label. I Love My Baby is the name of that one. Now, Jimmy Clanton, instrumental with this group signing with Johnny Vincent's Vin label and getting them signed to the label. But this record, a number one record in Worcester, Massachusetts. It goes for a lot of bucks. It goes for, like, I saw $387 was the highest price. I did not pay that, but there were a number of copies that sold, but they were up there, 200 and higher. Johnny G here for, we are now in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, as we always do a little bit of Vinyl Treasure Overtime. We move into 1960 with a request for Nat Papagallo, tuning in down in Florida. Wanted to hear this group from Brooklyn, New York. They have this lone release on the Cub record label. They're called the Zebulons. It features Sean Syville on lead. He also co-wrote the tune. And the interesting thing about this is that the lead singer, the first time he heard this song played on the radio, he was listening in prison. He was in prison when he heard his record played on the radio. He was convicted of beating someone who wanted to become a member of the group, and it was all circumstantial evidence, but he was convicted and he spent 6.5 years in jail. Now, when he left prison, he became an investigator for the New York City Department of Finance, but prior to all that, he was the lead singer of this group called the Zebulons from May of 1960 on the Cub label. Their tune is called Falling Water.
Falling water, falling water.
By request for Nat Papagallo. That's a cool tune. Paid 15 cents for that 45 at the 303 Drive-In in Orangeburg, New York there. Those are the Zebulons. The Zebulons from May 1960. Sean Seville on lead, Falling Water on the Cub label, subsidiary of MGM Records. Let's continue here. Now, last week I played a request for the Bopper Boy Warren by the Three Friends, a group out of Compton, California, on the Calgo label, a song entitled Walkin' Shoes. The flip side's pretty cool also. It features Clay Hammond on lead. Let's go to November of 61 for the Three Friends. The Three Friends on the Cal Gold label, and their tune called Blue Ribbon Baby.
Da 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 goo, da 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 goo, da 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 goo goo goo, da 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 dip 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 dip.
You are my ribbon baby, you are my love, don't mean baby, you are the prize I idolize, and I love you so. The ribbon baby, I love you so much, because you have got that winter touch, because you're all so fine, you want this heart of mine, and I love you so. I know every guy in the neighborhood, he's got to have his eye on you. Your premium property, you look so good. You're right on top, the cream of the crop. You are mine, ribbon baby. You want this heart, I don't mean maybe, because you are so fine. You want this heart of mine, and I love you so.
Da 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 goo goo goo, da 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 dip 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 dip.
I know every guy in the neighborhood, he's got to have his eye on you. Your premium property, you look so good. You're right on top, the cream of the crop. You are mine, the ribbon baby. You want this heart, don't mean maybe, because you are so fine. You want this heart of mine, and I love you so.
Da 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 goo, da 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 goo, da 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 goo goo goo, da 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 dip 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 dip.
November 61 release there on the Cal Gold record label out of the group is out of Compton, California, but the label out of Los Angeles, California. The Three Friends with their tune called Blue Ribbon Baby. Now they have two more releases that came out on Imperial Records. That is that group, not the Three Friends that did Plans. Johnny G here doing Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's go back to the Bronx, New York. We go back to a request for Matey Campboy. This one on the Dunes label. This girl group consisted of Shirley Cryer, the sister of Arthur Cryer, who actually co-wrote this song. Arthur Cryer was also a member of many groups, the Mellows, the Crafties, the Halos, just to name a few. Another member of this group was Gail Noble, and the lead singer Diane Christian, who she is on lead here. This is on the Dunes label. This is by request for Matey. We go to July of 61 for Diane and the Darlettes on the Dunes record label with a song entitled Just You.
Just
By request for Matey Campoy, cool girl group sound there. Diane and the Darlettes, the name of the group. July 61 on the Dunes label, a song entitled Just You. Lead singer Diane Christian, the other gal that comes in, she is Shirley Cryer, Arthur Cryer's sister. She's the other gal that comes in on the record. Johnny G here doing Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's continue here now on the last Vinyl Treasure show. For listener Nat Papagallo, he requested an unreleased master by the Velvets, the same group from Odessa, Texas, that recorded on the Monument record label, a 45 that came out back in 1994, okay, on Surrender Records, probably recorded sometime in 1961 or 62. I played the B-side. Nat requested the B-side, I'm Trusting in You. So let's flip the 45 over, give a listen to the intended A-side. It features Virgil Johnson on lead. This one from, I'm guessing, 61 or 62. It's on Surrender Records. This is on yellow vinyl from 1994, the pressing. The Velvets with Be Ever Mine.
Ball, 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 be ever mine, be ever mine, little girl, be ever mine, and I can love you all the time. Oh, stay in my heart, and we will never part. Saw a cutie girl walking down the street, just a cutie girl I chanced to meet. I grabbed her by her hand and I whispered to her, I said, I hope someday you'll be mine. So be ever mine, and I can love you all the time.
That's an unreleased, well, it was unreleased at one point, became available in 1994. Virgil Johnson and the Velvets. 1961-62 release, came out on Surrender Records. Be Ever Mine is the name of that one. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, and this next up, a request for Chuck Staton, listening in Henderson, Nevada, as this group is called the Lydells, not the same group that recorded out of Philadelphia, The Wizard of Love. This is a different group out of New York, consisting of Ray Nunez and Al Castro, Julio Maduro, and Charles Jacobs. The song initially came out in 1959 on the Pam label, but with the success of the Lydells out of Philadelphia, it was re-released in 1961. So it came out on the Pam label and also came out on the Parkway record label. This is going out to Chuck Staton. This copy is on Pam Records, February 61, the Lydells, with their tune called There Goes the Boy.
There goes the boy who's in love with my girl. He sure looks happy and out of this world. I really love her. has gone. There's no stars in sight. Now that she has left me, there's no heavenly light. I hope that she's happy, yes, happy with all his charms. For I still wish that I were the boy, yes, the boy, in your arms. Here goes the boy who's in love with my girl. He sure looks happy and out of this world. I'm in love, can't you see? She preferred him more than me.
They're called the Lydells. The Lydells on the Pam record label, going out to Chuck Staton. February 61 release. I think that's really from 1959, the first time it came out. The Lydells with There Goes the Boy, as we continue here. Now, last week I played a request for Chuck by this group out of New Haven, Connecticut. They were called Roger and the Travelers. The song was called Your Daddy's Little Girl. Now, the lead singer of that group, Roger, he's really Roger Koob, who previously was the lead of the Premiers that recorded on the Alert record label back in 1958. So let's flip over this Ember 45, give a listen to the B-side. I like the B-side, written by Roger Koob. This one from September 61. It's on the Ember label, Roger and the Travelers. It's called Just Gotta Be That Way.
Every day that you've been away makes me wonder what you'd say if I told you you broke my heart when you promised we'd never part with a ride. Okay, it just gotta be that way. Tell me, baby, since you've been gone, everything's been going on. After all that we said and done, little darling, you're my number one below ride. Okay, just gotta be that way. But don't forget that my first love for you was a bad mistake. 'Cause when you stole my heart away, what I couldn't take. Tell me, baby, since you've been gone, everything that's been going on. After all that we said and done, little darling, you're my number one below ride. Okay, you just gotta be that way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But don't forget that my first love for you was a bad mistake. 'Cause when you stole my heart away, what I couldn't take. Tell me, baby, since you've been gone, everything that's been going on. After all that we said and done, little darling, you're my number one below ride. Okay, just gotta be that way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
September 61 release there for Roger and the Travelers. Roger is Roger Koob. He's the lead singer there. Just Gotta Be That Way, a song he wrote on the Ember record label there. And after Roger and the Travelers, the group changed their name to the Frontiers. They do some nice records on the Phillips label in 1963. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, here's the flip side from a couple of shows ago, as I played a request for Chuck Staton Satin by the Robins on the Lavender record label that featured Bobby Sheen on lead. Their rendition of the tune White Cliffs of Dover, a very cool upbeat version. Now the flip side is pretty nice too, in my opinion, written by group member Carl White, but it features Bobby Sheen on lead. This is the first of two on the Lavender label for the Robins. We go back to March of 61, the Robins with their tune called How Many More Times.
Tell me to wait and see, but how many more times will I look at the sky and say that I'm such a lonely guy? How many? I wanna know how many more? How many more times? How many more times? I gotta know how many more times? How many times will you lie? How many times will you make me?
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Robins. Bobby Sheen on lead for that one, March 61. Lavender Records, that's the flip side of White Cliffs of Dover. How many more times? As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Overtime, here's another request. Actually, the next two records are requests for bopper boy Warren Russell. Now we go, this one's on the Knox record label, probably out of Tennessee or Atlanta, Georgia. But this group recorded as the Sierras, S-I-E-R-R-A apostrophe S for this one, because I have another Sierras group coming up in a couple records here. But this one written by the lead singer, his name is Richard Jarvis, going out by request for Warren. This one from March of 1962, the Sierras on Knox. It's called So Many Sleepless Nights.
To send me back, my darling, my one and only darling.
That's by request for Bopper Boy Warren. A group called the Sierras apostrophe S from March of 62. So Many Sleepless Nights is the name of that one on the Knox record label. That's a pretty cool record. Yes, it is. Actually, I have a leftover request for Bopper Boy Warren. This group out of California. Now, Warren asked me initially to play a record by the Tiki's on the Right Sound label. And I have that record, I do, because I saw it in an auction, and I knew it was this song. I said, well, this is much later, because that Tiki's record is like 1965 or 66, because the flip side sounds nothing. That Tiki's 45 sounds nothing like this side. So I don't know if they just got any old record and they put some other group on the other side, but it's not. I don't know what happened, but anyway, Warren, even though he requested the Tiki's, he really requested this record, a song called For Sale, parentheses, One Broken Heart. Now, that was the B-side on that Tiki's record, but this is the A-side on a label called Laguna out of Los Angeles, California. It's from 1964. It was written by Mabel Wedlow, and I think she is the lead singer. I think that's who's doing lead on this. So we're going to send this one out to Bopper Boy Warren from 1964 by the Electrons. The Electrons on Laguna, a song entitled For Sale, parentheses, One Broken Heart.
For sale, for sale, for sale, one broken heart.
My life was always the same. I thought that I could play love's game, but now, oh now, I'm wearing this sign.
For sale, one broken heart. Wanted someone to care, needed someone to share. For sale, for sale, for sale, one broken heart. I thought that I was so smart, but he was playing a part. But I found out too late, and wanted someone to care, needed someone to share. For sale, for sale, for sale, one broken heart. For sale, one broken heart. For sale, one broken heart. For sale, one broken heart.
That's by request for Bopper Boy Warren. He requested it by the Tiki's, but he got it by the Electrons. That one there, 1964, the Electrons on the Laguna label out of Los Angeles, California. For Sale, parentheses, One Broken Heart. Now, a couple of records ago, we heard from a group called the Sierras with an apostrophe S on the Knox label. How about another group called the Sierras, no apostrophe? It's on a label called Mail Call Records, which is out of Pontiac, Michigan. This is from 1961. Give a listen to the Sierras on Mail Call. It's called Chance Part 1.
Give me a chance to prove that I'm worthy. Don't say romance was meant to be dirty. Don't tell me that our love was a joke, and you knew that it never could be. Let us be fair, for we had a friendship. This love we shared was more than a kinship, and we enjoyed the moments we shared. And you knew what it meant to me. I never pretended. How can you say we should suspend it? Maybe it's best that you should be leaving. I must confess, though I will be grieving, you ought to know. You held my love so in a trance when all you did gave me no chance. Whoa, no chance, no chance. Oh,
That's the other Sierras group. I don't know if they're out of Pontiac, Michigan. I know this record is. There's another record, The Clocks and the Classmen, is on. What's that record by The Clocks and the Classmen? Daryl, you got to help me out. A great record that they do. Written in the Stars is the name of that one on this label. But this is not an easy record to find. I don't think it is. The Sierras 1961. It's Chance Part 1. I've never seen a Part 2. It's not the flip. The flip side is not Part 2. But that's on the Mail Call record label. Let's continue here a little bit, couple more here before we sign off here on Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Now, a few shows ago, I played a request for The Colonel by the Fidels on the Imperial record label, an excellent record that I like, a song called What Is Love. But let's give a flip to the B-side of the 45 before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. This one from October 61. As we flip over What Is Love by the Fidels on Imperial, we get a song called Don't Let Me Love You.
Don't let me love you if you can't be mine. I want our love to stand the test of time. Don't let me give away my heart unless you feel our love is real and we will never part. Don't let me love you if it's just a game, 'cause I'm sincere and you must be the same. Don't let me cling to you this way unless you know you love me so forever and a day. Each time I thrill to your kiss, I know what paradise is, but there's a voice in my heart that keeps saying this. Don't let me love you, then wake up to find that I'm still yours, but you're no longer mine.
That group called the Fidels from October 1961. That's the flip side of What Is Love. Song entitled Don't Let Me Love You. That one there on the Imperial record label. Let's fit in a couple more here. This 45's on B. Castlin's Hull label. It's a big Pittsburgh record. I think this is a big Pittsburgh record. That's what Ted Ardkowski told me about this. But the group is from Red Hook's Projects, the Red Hooks Project in Brooklyn, New York, and this happens to be their only release. Written by group member Philip Chapman. Here are Bruce Clark and the Q's. Johnny G getting tired here. Bruce Clark and the Q's from November of 1963 on the Hull label with a song entitled Penny for Your Thoughts. November 63 release there for Bruce Clark and the Q's. It's on the Hull record label. A song entitled Penny for Your Thoughts. Two more 45s to go before Johnny G signs off here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, on last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a request from Matey Campboy. She requested the Extremes on the Paro label, a song called The Bells. Let's flip the 45 over, give a listen to the B-side, which was, again, a tune written by the lead singer of the group. His name is Bobby Sanders. This one from November of 1962. These are the Extremes on Paro with That's All I Want.
I don't want to have a brand new car. Don't want to eat caviar. I don't want to be a king on the throne. I just want to be left alone. All I want, all I want is you. I don't want to be a millionaire. With all that money, you wouldn't have to care. Your eyes are like a pale moonlight, and I know that you will treat me right for all To him that meaneth everything, yeah. Like the ocean without the rain. Without love, who would be the man? I don't want to have a brand new car. Don't want to eat caviar. I don't want to be a king on the throne. I just want to be left all alone. All I want, all I want is you, baby. That's all I want, yeah. Don't want no diamonds or pearls. Don't want nothing in the world but you, oh baby. I'm not your mother, not your sister, not your cousin, not your uncle.
That record has a Detroit sound to it versus a California sound. But anyways, Cool Two-Sided 45. Those are the Extremes for November 1962. It's on the Paro label. A song entitled That's All I Want. Well, that's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyltreasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. You can also go to my YouTube account. I'll be posting this up on my YouTube wall. You can go back and listen to the show again, look at the record labels. Pretty cool. A lot of people do that during the week. They don't listen Saturday nights, but they are archive listeners, and thank you, you archive listeners, for tuning in. Or also, you can go to my website, vinyltreasures.net. You can download the show there. I know people that do that for their long car rides. Anyway, either way, it's fun. I enjoy myself every Saturday night, and that's going to do it, folks. I am beat tonight. I am. And we're going to close the show tonight. That record, That's All I Want, is a segue to our closer, to a record I really, really like, and I love this song because it's just a great tune by this gal and her male backup group. And I purchased this one at the Allentown record show in Allentown, PA, one I attended a number of years ago. And one is coming up. It's happening, I think, October 5th. Is it October 5th that's coming up? I think, yes, it is. But this group is out of the Bronx, New York. It's on a Brooklyn label, Anko Records, Al Brown's Anko label, and he is involved with this record, and he is the band leader, and he wrote the song together with the lead singer. Her name is Connie Questel. Connie Questel on lead of the Decoys. Our closer tonight is from 1963 on the Anko label. We just heard a tune called That's All I Want. The closer tonight is I Want Only You by Connie and the Decoys. That's going to do it, folks, for Johnny G and the Vinyltreasure Show. Please tune in tomorrow evening starting at 9 p.m. right here on Top Shelf Oldies for Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show, 9 to midnight right here for my buddy Dave the Rave. A lot of cool 60s songs out of his collection on Original 45, like Johnny G does, and all the DJs here on Top Shelf Oldies. And that's going to do it for me. And thank you, Charlene, for all your help. We'll be back next Saturday at 10 o'clock. 10 to midnight to play more records out of my collection. So I had a busy week with the tax return for the corporation I'm working for. It was very busy, but I'm going to relax, going to watch some football tomorrow. I got to go to a church fair. I got to help with pizza frites, I think. That's just not me. But anyway, thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you here next Saturday. Have a safe and happy week. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
He may not be what girls describe as fine, and he may not be handy with his line, but oh yes, it's true. I want only you. He
That is a great record. You know, I saw her at a local Westchester record show. She was with a bunch of people. She came in. It was like amazing. But I wish it didn't have this girl, Mary, wrote her name on this. Who'd I get this from? A Benedict. What's his name? Benedict from Florida sold me this record, The Decoys, I Want Only You. I wish it didn't have that big red name on the record. The stars, and she wrote it on the other side too, For You, which is actually another good song that they do. But anyway, thanks a lot for sticking around, you guys. Much appreciated, okay? And, wait, that's not right. I don't know what happened here anyway. But thanks for tuning in to the Vinyltreasure Show. I'll be back next Saturday and for more records out of my collection again. So I hope you enjoyed all the tunes, or most of the tunes, I could say. Not everybody likes everything, but I try to touch all the bases. Again, thank you so much. Thank you, Charlene, for your help. And like I said, I'll see you guys here next Saturday from 10 to midnight right here and longer. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.